You see them every day, on your lawn, in the park, hopping along the pavement like they own the place. The robin. Familiar, cheerful, almost taken for granted. But here's the thing. There are actually two completely different birds that share that name, and both of them are hiding some genuinely extraordinary secrets. From built-in magnetic compasses to getting drunk on fermented berries, these birds are far stranger and more remarkable than most people ever stop to realize. Here are 15 facts you never knew about robins. Fact 1. There are two completely different robins. The American robin and the European robin share a name and a red breast, and that is basically where the similarities end. The European robin belongs to the Old World flycatcher family, closely related to nightingales and Old World thrushes. The American robin, by contrast, is a true thrush, bigger, longer-legged, and built more like a blackbird than its European namesake. When European settlers arrived in North America and spotted a bird with a warm, orange-red chest, they called it a robin out of homesickness. The name stuck for over 400 years. Two birds, one ocean apart, not closely related at all, united by nothing more than a splash of color and a moment of nostalgia. Fact 2. Robins can see magnetic fields. This sounds like science fiction, but it's completely real and backed by peer-reviewed research. Both species can detect the Earth's magnetic field, and they do it through their eyes. There's a light-sensitive protein in their retinas called cryptochrome that reacts to the planet's magnetic field, producing a kind of visual overlay, patterns of light and shadow that function like a built-in compass laid directly on top of everything the robin sees. So, when a robin stands on your lawn staring into the distance, it isn't daydreaming. It's reading magnetic data from the planet itself. Every direction carries navigational information that helps it know exactly where it is and where it needs to go. It is, in a very real sense, seeing the world in a way no human ever has. Fact 3. That redbreast is a warning, not a welcome. Both species wear red on their chest, and in both cases it serves the same primary purpose: aggression. The redbreast is a territorial signal, telling other robins this space is taken and the bird wearing it is ready to defend it. European robins are famously fierce. Classic experiments by ornithologist David Lack showed they will attack a simple bundle of red feathers placed in their territory. Not a robin-shaped decoy, just red feathers. The color alone is enough to trigger a full attack. American robins are equally territorial, particularly in breeding season. That cheerful bird at your feeder isn't being sociable. It's broadcasting a warning to every other robin within earshot. Fact 4. A robin's heart beats around 570 times per minute. A robin's metabolism runs extraordinarily fast. At rest, the heart beats around 570 times per minute, nearly 10 times the resting human heart rate. During flight or moments of stress, that figure climbs even higher. It's a body running at a pace we can barely imagine. This internal engine demands constant fuel. Robins cannot go long without eating during daylight hours. Even a few hours without food puts serious pressure on their energy reserves. Everything about their daily routine, the constant foraging, the early starts, the tight territorial control over feeding areas, is a direct consequence of a body that burns energy at a truly exceptional rate. That robin working your lawn isn't being leisurely. It's running on empty and racing to refuel. Fact 5. Robins get drunk on fermented berries. This is one of those facts that sounds like an exaggeration right up until you look into it. In late autumn, as fruits over-ripen on the branch, their natural sugars begin to ferment. Robins eat them in large quantities, and the alcohol content is sufficient to visibly affect them. Observers have documented robins losing coordination, flying erratically, and stumbling on the ground after feeding on the same fermented fruit source. This isn't a rare, isolated incident. Large groups have been seen in this state simultaneously after feeding on the same tree. The effects pass once the alcohol is metabolized, but for a short window, these birds are genuinely, measurably impaired. One of the more unexpected entries in any field guide. Fact 6. They find worms by sight, not sound. People have long believed that robins tilt their heads to listen for worms moving underground. It looks exactly like listening, which is why the explanation has been repeated for generations. But that's not what's happening at all. A robin's eyes sit on the sides of its head. Tilting gives one eye a direct downward angle, allowing it to scan the soil surface for the faint movement or slight outline of a worm near the top of the ground. They're watching, not listening. The whole thing is a visual hunting technique, and a highly effective one at that. Fact 7. Robins don't always migrate. There's a widespread belief that spotting a robin signals spring has arrived. In reality, for both species, migration is driven by food availability, not temperature. If there's enough food to sustain them, many robins simply don't leave. American robins that appear to return in spring have often been present all winter, tucked away in wooded areas feeding on crab apples, juniper berries, and dogwood rather than on open lawns where people would notice them. European robins are equally flexible. Some populations migrate south, others stay year-round. The robin you see on a Christmas card perched in a snowy British garden. It never left, it just moved somewhere less visible. Fact 8. Their song is far more complex than it sounds. A robin's song might seem like a pleasant repeating melody, but what's actually happening is considerably more sophisticated. Rather than cycling through a fixed set of phrases, a robin continuously rearranges its syllables into new sequences. No two consecutive songs from the same bird are identical. This isn't random variation, it's intentional complexity. A varied, sustained performance signals health and strength to rivals and potential mates. The longer and more inventive the song, the clearer the message. American robins produce a rich, flute-like series of rolling phrases. European robins have a more melancholic, wavering quality that's especially striking in autumn, when both males and females sing to defend their winter feeding territories, a behavior unusual in itself among small songbirds. If you're enjoying this and learning something new, it would mean a lot if you'd hit like and subscribe. It helps more people find videos like this, and we've got plenty more where this came from. Now, back to the robins. Fact 9. The egg color signals the mother's health. Robin eggs are among the most recognizable in the natural world, and that distinctive blue-green color has a real biological function, not just a decorative one. The pigment responsible is called biliverdin, deposited by the female as the eggshell forms inside her body. The key finding is that healthier, stronger females tend to produce more vivid, deeply saturated eggs. Research shows males respond to this directly, investing significantly more effort into feeding chicks and defending the nest when the eggs in it are brighter. The color isn't decorative, it's biological information about the quality of the female that laid them, communicated directly to her mate. Fact 10. 75% of robins don't survive to adulthood. The mortality rate for young robins is brutal. Predators, cold snaps, window strikes, pesticide exposure, and simple starvation all take their toll in that first year. A robin that hatches in spring is statistically unlikely to still be alive come the following spring. The ones that do make it past their first winter enter a very different bracket entirely. The oldest recorded American robin reached 13 years and 11 months. For European robins, the verified record is a remarkable 19 years and 4 months. But these are extraordinary outliers. Most never get anywhere close. Fact 11. A single pair can raise up to 15 chicks in one season. Both species are remarkably productive breeders. Female robins are capable of laying up to 3 clutches per season, each containing 3 to 5 eggs, meaning one pair could, in a good year, produce a significant number of offspring in just a few months. But the numbers quickly tell a harder story. Only around 40% of nests successfully raise fledglings at all, and of the young birds that do leave the nest, just 25% survive to November. High reproduction isn't abundance, it's a survival strategy. The math demands it. Fact 12. Robins rub ants on their feathers. This behavior is called anting, and it's one of the more genuinely strange things either species gets up to. A robin picks up live ants and deliberately wipes them across its wings and body, or simply sits directly on an active ant mound and lets the insects crawl through its plumage on their own. The formic acid produced by the ants is thought to help neutralize feather parasites like mites and lice that would otherwise cause real damage. It's a form of self-medication using the chemistry of an entirely different species. Dozens of bird species do it, but it's particularly well documented in robins. Next time you see one behaving oddly on the ground, there's a reasonable chance it's not distressed at all. It's just doing maintenance. Fact 13. The gardener's friend. Pick up a spade, turn over some soil, and within minutes, a robin appears at your shoulder. It's one of the most familiar and reliable encounters in British gardening, and there's a very specific ecological reason behind it. Ecologists believe robins follow gardeners for the same reason they once followed wild boar and other large animals through the woodland floor. Disturbed earth brings worms and insects to the surface, and robins have learned over thousands of years that anything large that digs is worth following. Here's the twist, though. That robin isn't being friendly. It isn't keeping you company or enjoying your presence. It's using you, a large animal that conveniently turns over soil on its behalf. Pure opportunism dressed up as affection. And somehow, knowing that makes it even more impressive. Fact 14. Artificial light is changing robin behavior. Urban robins in heavily lit areas have been recorded singing in the middle of the night, sometimes hours after they would normally be at rest. Artificial streetlights trick their system into registering early dawn, triggering territorial song well before it serves any real biological purpose. The consequences extend well beyond a disrupted sleep schedule. Altered singing patterns affect how effectively robins can signal territory and attract mates. Stress hormone levels change. Breeding success may be affected over time. Urban robins are effectively living on a completely different biological clock to their rural counterparts, and the long-term consequences for city robin populations are still being actively studied. Fact 15. Why robins are on Christmas cards. Every December, robins appear on cards, decorations, and wrapping paper across Britain and much of Europe. Most people accept it as a charming tradition without ever stopping to ask where it actually came from. The real origin is more interesting than most people expect. In Victorian Britain, Royal Mail postmen wore bright red uniforms and were nicknamed robins by the public. When Christmas cards became widely popular in the 1860s, illustrators began depicting these postmen delivering the cards. Over time, artists replaced the uniformed human postman with an actual robin carrying greetings in its beak, a visual pun that captured the public imagination completely. The image has endured for over 150 years, all because a uniform happened to be the same color as a bird's chest. Two birds, one name, and between them, enough extraordinary biology to fill a textbook. Magnetic vision, territorial warfare fought with color, fermented berries, anting rituals, and a heart beating 10 times faster than yours. The most familiar animals are often the ones hiding the most remarkable biology, because nobody thinks to look closer. Next time a robin lands near you, take a moment. You're looking at something genuinely extraordinary.